Here's something nobody tells you about turning 40. The same workout that used to energize you for the entire day now leaves you wrecked for 3. And it's not because you're getting old, it's because your body's internal power plant just changed the rules on you. I'm going to tell you something that might piss off every fitness influencer on this platform. High-intensity training, the thing they keep telling you is the fountain of youth, might actually be draining your battery faster than ever before. But before you click away thinking I'm about to tell you to stop working out, hear me out. Because what I'm going to show you in the next 14 minutes will actually help you train harder and feel better than you did in your 30s. I'm talking about men who were falling asleep at 3 p.m., struggling through workouts, wondering if their best days were behind them, and how understanding one simple biological shift helped them reclaim their energy. The shift happens in your mitochondria. And no, that's not some exotic disease. It's the reason you're watching this video right now. Look, I'm not some 22-year-old fitness bro who thinks squats solve everything. I'm Francis, and at 53, I've lived this. 3 years ago, I could barely make it through a HIIT session without needing a 2-hour nap. I thought I was broken. Turns out, I wasn't broken. I was just training like I was still 28, and my body was sending me a very expensive invoice I couldn't pay. In this video, you're going to learn why your cellular power plants are literally changing how they operate after 40. The hormonal shift that makes recovery take 2 to 3 times longer. Why your cortisol response is now working against you instead of for you. And most importantly, the exact adjustments that let you train intensely without the 3-day recovery hangover. This isn't theory. This is backed by peer-reviewed research from studies on testosterone, mitochondrial function, and exercise recovery in men over 40. So if you've ever wondered why intensity now feels like it's stealing your life force instead of boosting it, stick with me. The wake-up call. Let me paint you a picture. You're 42. You decide it's time to get serious about fitness again. So you do what the internet tells you, you go hard. CrossFit, HIIT, boot camps, Orange Theory, whatever. First week, you feel like a warrior. Adrenaline pumping. Endorphins flowing. Yeah, I still got it. Week 2. You're tired, but you push through. Week 3. You're waking up more exhausted than when you went to bed. Your joints ache. You're irritable. Your wife asks if you're feeling okay. You snap at your kids over nothing. By week 4, you're either injured or you've quit. And you think, maybe I'm just too old for this. But here's what's really happening, and this is what nobody's telling you. Your body isn't failing you. It's operating exactly as it's designed to at this age. The problem is, you're running 2026 software on 1995 hardware expectations. See, when you do high-intensity exercise, your body goes through a specific stress response. That response is governed by 3 key players. 1. Your mitochondria, the power plants in every cell. 2. Your testosterone levels, your recovery hormone. 3. Your cortisol response, your stress hormone. And after 40, all 3 of these change in ways that make intensity hit completely different than it did in your 20s and 30s. Let's talk about your mitochondria first, because this is where the story gets wild. Think of mitochondria as the power plants inside each of your cells. They take the food you eat, the oxygen you breathe, and they convert it into ATP, which is literally the currency your body runs on. Every single thing you do, from thinking to blinking to crushing a deadlift, requires ATP. Now here's what research from the National Institutes of Health has shown: after age 40, your mitochondrial function starts declining. Not a little. We're talking about a measurable decrease in 1. Mitochondrial ATP production. 2. The number of healthy mitochondria in your muscle cells. 3. Your mitochondria's ability to handle oxidative stress. In one groundbreaking study published in Frontiers in Endocrinology, researchers found that testosterone, which naturally declines about 1% per year after 30, directly affects mitochondrial biogenesis. That's the process where your body makes new mitochondria. Translation? Less testosterone equals fewer power plants equals less energy production capacity. But here's where it gets interesting. When you do high-intensity exercise, you're basically asking your mitochondria to work overtime. And they can do it. But the recovery process, where they repair and rebuild, takes significantly longer when A. You have fewer mitochondria to begin with. B. Your testosterone isn't high enough to signal efficient recovery. C. You're stacking intense sessions too close together. This is why that HIIT class that used to energize you now leaves you feeling like you got hit by a truck. Your mitochondria can't keep up with the demand, and the recovery debt is real. Think of it like this: in your 20s, your body was a brand new car with a full tank and a powerful engine. Redline it? No problem. It bounces back. At 43? You're still a great car, but you're a luxury vehicle that needs premium fuel and proper maintenance. Redline it without the right recovery, and you're going to blow the engine. Let me tell you about Mike. Mike's a buddy of mine, 46 years old, successful business owner. Decided he was going to get shredded for his daughter's wedding. Hired a trainer, a good one, actually. But this trainer had Mike doing intense workouts 6 days a week. Heavy lifting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. HIIT Tuesday, Thursday. Boot camp Saturday. After 6 weeks, Mike wasn't shredded. He was a zombie. He was falling asleep in afternoon meetings. His sex drive vanished. He was falling asleep in afternoon meetings. His sex drive vanished. He got sick twice in 2 months, something that never happened to him. His resting heart rate went up instead of down. Classic overtraining, but he didn't know it. When Mike finally got his blood work done, his doctor was concerned. His cortisol was through the roof. His testosterone had dropped to the bottom of the normal range. His inflammatory markers looked like he was fighting off an infection. Mike wasn't building muscle. He was literally breaking down his body faster than it could repair itself. The crazy part? Once Mike understood what was happening and made 3 simple adjustments to his training, which I'll share with you in a minute, he got better results in the next 8 weeks than he'd gotten in the previous 6 months of grinding. This is what I mean when I say intensity drains energy differently after 40. It's not that you can't handle intensity. It's that your recovery must match your intensity, and that equation has changed. The cortisol crisis. Now let's talk about cortisol, because this is the piece of the puzzle that blew my mind when I first learned about it. Cortisol gets a bad rap. People call it the stress hormone like it's the enemy. But cortisol is actually essential for exercise. When you work out intensely, cortisol spikes. This is good. It mobilizes energy, breaks down fat, gives you that performance boost. The problem isn't the spike. The problem is the recovery from the spike. Research published in the Journal of Endocrinological Investigation tested men at different exercise intensities, 40%, 60%, and 80% of their max capacity. Here's what they found. At 40% intensity, cortisol actually decreased. At 60% intensity, cortisol increased by about 40%. At 80% intensity, cortisol increased by 83%. Now, in younger men, cortisol returns to baseline within 90 minutes. But in men over 40, especially those doing frequent high-intensity work, that cortisol can stay elevated for hours. Sometimes days. And here's why this matters: elevated cortisol blocks testosterone. It increases muscle breakdown. It suppresses your immune system. It disrupts your sleep. And guess what you need for recovery? Testosterone, muscle building, immune function, and sleep. You see the vicious cycle? An intense workout spikes cortisol, which slows recovery. Slower recovery disrupts sleep. Poor sleep raises cortisol. Elevated cortisol lowers testosterone. Lower testosterone slows recovery even more. And before you've fully recovered, you hit another intense workout, spiking cortisol again and locking you into the same loop. This is the trap so many guys over 40 fall into. They're training with the intensity of a 25-year-old, but they have the recovery capacity of a 45-year-old. And instead of adapting their approach, they just try to push harder. It's like trying to sprint on a stress fracture. The effort isn't the problem. The foundation is the testosterone factor. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, testosterone. Yes, your testosterone declines after 30. About 1% per year for most men. So by the time you're 45, you're running on roughly 85% of what you had at 25. That's significant. But here's what most people don't understand: testosterone isn't just about libido and muscle. Testosterone is your recovery hormone. Research from multiple studies, including work published in PMC's database on mitochondrial function, shows that testosterone directly impacts mitochondrial biogenesis, making new power plants; protein synthesis, building and repairing muscle; red blood cell production, oxygen delivery to tissues; glycogen replenishment, refilling your energy stores; anti-inflammatory response, reducing exercise-induced inflammation. When you do intense exercise, you're creating micro-damage to muscle tissue. That's normal. That's how you get stronger. That's normal. That's how you get stronger. But repair requires resources. And the Foreman directing that repair crew? Testosterone. When your testosterone is lower, and you're smashing it with high-intensity work 6 days a week, you're essentially trying to renovate a house with half the construction crew. And here's the brutal irony: chronic high-intensity exercise without adequate recovery lowers testosterone even further. Studies have shown that men who overtrain can drop their testosterone by 20 to 40%. So you're working harder than ever, feeling worse than ever, and getting results that are worse than ever. Not because you're weak. Not because you're old. But because you're violating the biological recovery requirements of your current physiology. The solution: 3 critical adjustments. Alright, enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about what actually works. Because here's the beautiful part: once you understand these mechanisms, you can work with your biology instead of against it. And when you do that, you can train harder, recover faster, and feel better than you have in years. Here are the 3 critical adjustments. Adjustment number 1: strategic intensity. Stop training at 80 to 100% intensity more than twice a week. I'm serious. Research from multiple studies shows that you can maintain and even build significant strength and muscle with just TWO high-intensity sessions per week, if you recover properly between them. Here's what your week should look like. Monday, high-intensity, weights, HIIT, hard effort. Tuesday, low-intensity, walk, yoga, mobility, light movement. Wednesday, moderate intensity, steady cardio, moderate weights. Thursday, low intensity. Friday, high intensity. Saturday, moderate intensity. Sunday, rest or very light movement. That's it. 2 days where you absolutely crush it. 2 days where you barely break a sweat but you move. 3 days in the middle. This isn't because you can't handle more. It's because your mitochondria and hormonal system need 48 to 72 hours to fully process a high-intensity bout at this age. Adjustment number 2, prioritize sleep like your life depends on it. Because, honestly, it does. Sleep is when your testosterone reaches its peak. Sleep is when your mitochondria repair. Sleep is when your cortisol normalizes. Sleep is when your immune system fights inflammation. If you're doing intense training on 5 to 6 hours of sleep, you're basically trying to make a deposit in the bank after the bank has closed. The workout happened, but the recovery can't process. Minimum 7 hours. Ideally 8. Non-negotiable. And yes, I know. You're busy. You've got work, kids, responsibilities. I get it. But training hard without sleeping hard is like buying a gym membership and never going. The investment doesn't pay off. One study showed that men who got less than 6 hours of sleep had testosterone levels 15% lower than men who got 8+ hours. After 1 week. If you're training hard and sleeping poorly, you're literally moving backwards. Adjustment number 3, nutrient timing and quality. Your mitochondria need fuel. And after 40, they're pickier about what kind and when. Post-workout nutrition isn't optional anymore. Within 30 to 60 minutes after intense exercise, you need 20 to 40 grams of high-quality protein, whey, eggs, lean meat. 30 to 60 grams of carbohydrates, rice, potatoes, fruit. Electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. This is prime time for glycogen replenishment and protein synthesis. Miss this window consistently, and you're leaving gains on the table. Also, and this is huge, your overall diet quality matters more now. Those mitochondria we talked about? They're particularly vulnerable to oxidative stress. Combat this with dark leafy greens, magnesium, antioxidants. Fatty fish, omega-3s for inflammation. Colorful vegetables, phytonutrients. Quality sleep supplements if needed, magnesium glycinate, vitamin D. You can't outtrain a terrible diet in your 20s. But after 40? You can't even outtrain a mediocre diet. One more thing, consider getting your testosterone, vitamin D, and iron levels checked. You can't manage what you don't measure. If your testosterone is in the bottom 20% of the normal range, or your vitamin D is low, no amount of workout tweaking will fix the recovery issue. Talk to your doctor. The real transformation. Remember Mike? Here's what he changed. Instead of 6 intense days, he went to 2. But on those 2 days, he went hard. Like, actually hard. He started sleeping 7.5 to 8 hours instead of 5 to 6. He stopped doom scrolling at midnight. He dialed in his post-workout nutrition. Protein shake with a banana within an hour of training. Every time. Results after 8 weeks. Lost 18 pounds of fat. Added visible muscle to his arms and shoulders. Testosterone increased from 340 ng/dL to 520 ng/dL. Resting heart rate dropped from 72 to 58. Stopped falling asleep at his desk. Showed up to his daughter's wedding looking better than he did at his own wedding. Same guy. Same genetics. Just different application of intensity that matched his current biology. And here's the kicker, he told me he wishes he'd known this stuff 10 years ago. Because he wasted years wondering what was wrong with him when nothing was wrong. He just needed to adjust the approach. Look, turning 40 doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you can't train hard. It doesn't mean you have to accept being tired all the time. It just means the rules changed. And when you understand the new rules, when you work with your mitochondria, your hormones, your cortisol response instead of against them, you can feel incredible. You can train intensely. You can build muscle. You can lose fat. You can have energy for your kids, your career, your life. But you have to stop training like you're 25. Because you're not. You're better than 25. You have wisdom, discipline, and resources that 25-year-old you didn't have. Use them. Now, what I covered today, the intensity piece, the recovery equation, the 3 adjustments, that's just one part of the puzzle. And honestly, it's the part most guys are getting wrong. But here's what I've learned after working with hundreds of men in their 40s and 50s, energy isn't just about how you train. It's about how your entire system operates. Your sleep architecture. Your nutrition timing. How you manage stress. Your hormone optimization. Even how you structure your day. Think of it like this, your body is an operating system. And somewhere around 40, you got an update. Most guys are still trying to run old programs on new software, and wondering why everything's glitching. So I put together something for guys who are serious about this, who don't want band-aid solutions or another 30-day challenge that leaves them right back where they started. It's called the Male Operating System, and it's basically the complete blueprint for how to recalibrate energy, libido, focus, and confidence after 40. No gimmicks. No obsession. Just practical, proven strategies that work with your biology instead of against it. We're talking about the exact sleep protocols that reset your testosterone production. The hormone optimization nutrition framework. The stress management system that keeps cortisol in check. The training template that builds muscle without the recovery debt. All of it. If what we talked about today resonated with you, and you want the full system, not just the exercise piece, but the complete male optimization blueprint, I've put the link in the description. Whether you grab that or not, here's what I want you to take away. If this video helped you understand why intensity drains you differently now, hit that subscribe button. I'm putting out a video next week on the exact workout split that maximizes results for men over 40 without the recovery hangover. Drop a comment and tell me, what's the one workout adjustment you're going to make this week? And remember, your best days aren't behind you. They're just operating on different software now. Learn the new operating system, and you'll run better than ever. See you in the next one.